we'll start off first with a Time Warrior and kind of discuss, because I know there's been some people who's been asking about the different skills and abilities that these classes have. As you can see, I currently have 0 gills equipped. We'll talk about that later. But at base, the Time Warrior has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 abilities, active abilities. And what active abilities are means that you can activate them by pressing a button. To my right, these are all mastery related abilities, which are something that just kind of are innate with your character, and they're not something that you will have to activate for. Starting from the top left, we have Taunt. Allows you to enrage nearby enemies, encourage them to attack you, so basically pulling aggro and trying to drawing them away from your party members. Doing so has a certain radius, reduces the target's rating, and lasts for a certain duration. After that, we have the Barbarian Shout, which sends a shockwave emanating from the warrior, dealing damage and stunning nearby enemies. Essentially, this is a small AoE-like effect, stunning enemies around you and kind of just keeping them off your buddies. After that, we have Kick. It's a very simple kick, but if you look on the far right side, not only does it do damage, but it also weakens the enemy and stacks upon them, allowing your enemies to be debuffed and easier to kill. And then we have the Blood Spray Aura, which for a time dealing melee weapon damage will heal nearby allies. It won't heal yourself though. Before we go into caltrops a little bit, I kind of want to talk about the skills below. So in big time, there are going to be certain skills that have what's called prerequisites. And what prerequisites are, it means that you have to have certain points and certain skills in order to unlock them. In this case, we have whirlwind. It's not going to show here because I already have it unlocked. However, to unlock whirlwind, you need to have 2 points into Taunt, 2 points into Barbarian Shout, and 2 points into Blood Spray Aura. That allows you to unlock whirlwind, which is the Time Warrior's ultimate ability. In this case, the whirlwind looks like so. Allows you to kill multiple mobs at once. And just to kind of rehash real quickly, and I'm going to backpedal for refillment, this is what Taunt looks like. This is what Barbarian Shout looks like. This is what Blood Spray Aura looks like. Back to the skill trees. The other prerequisite skill that also needs to have something inside of it before you can actually put points into it is Into the Breach. And this one requires you to have 1 skill into Blood Spray Aura. This one allows you to have an aura of damage resistance and lasts a certain duration. After that, we have caltrops. Allows you to throw a set of explosive caltrops in front of you. These are spiky deployables that slows enemies that walk over them. And finally, we have Rend Barrier. Rend will allow you to destroy the barrier defensive layer of enemies. For those who don't know, in big time, there is a thing called hit bars. And they're not limited. So I believe the most common hit bars that everyone here is familiar with is health bars. Health bars are a type of hit bar because you hit them and they go down. In big time though, there's a total of 4 different hit bars. Outside of health, you also have armor, shielding, and barrier. As you progress through the dungeons, you're going to find yourself coming across higher level enemies, more difficult enemies that may have these different types of hit bars. And before you can even do damage to the health bar, you have to at least go and shoot through the armor bars, shielding bars, or barrier bars. And in some cases, they may have multiple hit bars associated with them. The Time Warrior's specialty is able to do 1000 damage to the barrier hit bar. However, it requires my character to be level 12. Enough said about the Time Warrior. Let's kind of talk about a bit about stats, which is something I kind of briefed over didn't even discuss it all yet. So in big time, there are stats just like your traditional MMO. We have strength, which modifies your max health and non-magic damage modifier. We have dexterity, which modifies your accuracy and evasion. We have intelligence, which modifies your max energy and magic damage modifier. We have vitality, which modifies your max health and elemental resistance. We have wisdom, which modifies your max energy and energy regain. And then we have agility, which modifies your evasion and movement speed. Essentially, you can put whatever stats you want to into anything you want to, regardless of what class you play. However, at base and by default, if you were to get a starter pocket watch, the Time Warrior is geared to having more strength by default than the other classes. The Shadow Blade is geared to having more dexterity by default than the other classes. The Chronomancer is geared to having more intelligence than the other classes. And the Quantum Fixer has a mixture of both, but does have pretty high wisdom than the other classes. We'll kind of talk a bit more about stats in a little bit and how that affects equipment in big time. However, again, you're not required to put points in any specific stat. This is all up to you.